Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned. Enemy double kill. Rampage. has destroyed a turret. An ally has been slain. team has destroyed a turret.
And like getting all the upgrade stones. And then once you have that, it's then you start gunning for the legacy dungeons. And the legacy dungeons aren't even that interesting, right? Um I don't think I don't remember the encounters that I had in them anywhere near as much as I remember the encounters that I had in like Dark Souls 1. And a lot of it, like, you can't really balance for it either, because you can just run around and get like crazy overpowered with your existing gear and then gun right through it, you know? Whereas in Dark Souls, of course, you're limited, like, since it's a linear game, you know, you're limited to the quality of the equipment that's available to you at that point. Or you can just play organically and not aim for SL1. What? No, I've played Elden Ring normally. You take a look at Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm not gonna lie, man. Kingdom Come Deliverance is not the shit that I want. I don't want an immersive world sim RPG where I have to like dress in my poofy clothing to negotiate with the nobleman to haggle the price of corn or something. I want a fucking dungeon crawler. What do you want? A dungeon crawler. Like the good old days. After 9/11. What are we supposed to be doing? Well, right now I'm just arguing with chat because I'm grumpy, like I warned at the beginning of stream. What about the combat system? I don't care. I don't care. It's fine. It's fine. I just want good games, man. It's not my fucking fault that all games these days are the same game. All indie games are like top-down or isometric roguelites where you gain EXP points to level up the one of the 78 random attribute modifying items that you've gotten. And then all mainstream games are fucking Ubisoft bullshit. Yeah, one of the reasons that I like Metal Gear Revengeance so much is because I didn't expect what it would end up being. Risk of Rain 2 is a movement shooter roguelite? Yeah, Risk of Rain 2 is a good game, but like, yeah, like all indie games are roguelites. They're easier to develop than like regular games. More content efficient because people replay stuff over and over. Well, I've played Blasphemous. This is really generalizing? Yeah, I'm talking about an entire game industry here. It just kind of fucks me up a little bit that, like, the problem is that I feel like you have AAA developers, and then you have the indie developers, but the people who are supposed to be doing the really cool shit in the middle aren't. All the AA developers are trying to do the AAA thing, right? Well, they're doing one or the other, right? Like, so AAA developers are always going to make like super bog standard, really safe, like gonna make a return on the investment products. And indie games, well, indie developers are going to make whatever they want, but it's mostly going to be biased towards stuff that's easy for small dev teams to make, and that tends to be like roguelites or walking simulators, stuff like that, you know? You know what indie games tend to be like, you all know. And the AA developers are supposed to be like that point in the middle where they have the budget and expertise to do whatever they want, but they aren't being held to the same standards that AAA studios are. So they can like take a little bit more of a
Gold today is $1,580. The dollar during these last 3 years was devalued almost 50%. When you wake up in the morning, do you care about the price of gold?
Well, I pay attention to the price of gold, but I think it reflects a lot of things. It reflects global uncertainties. I think the reason people hold gold is as a protection against what we call tail risk, really, really bad outcomes. And to the extent that the last few years have made people more worried about the potential of a major crisis, then they have gold as a protection.
Do you think gold is money?
No.
Oh wait, I'm mixing up Outer Worlds and Outer Wilds. Outer Worlds was mid. Imagine making Fallout New Vegas and then having the ability to make your own IP, and then you decide to make a Bethesda RPG anyway. Fallout New Vegas was good in spite of it being a Bethesda RPG. Bethesda RPGs fucking suck. They feel like shit to play. They're like built with twine and paper mache. And then you have your own you're doing your own thing with its own engine, and then you just remake Bethesda's engine. Oh god, it's gonna be like this all stream. I'm lost. Oh fuck. I get the impression you're not a big fan of sandbox games. No, because sandbox games used to be like a minority in the genre. Like, there were a couple of sandbox games back in the day. Grand Theft Auto was unique for being a sandbox game. But now every game is a fucking sandbox game. Every fucking game. You can never just have a procession of levels anymore. Ironically, one of the only fucking people doing that shit was the fucking Call of Duty people, and that shit sucks too. Just a sequence of boring fucking shooting galleries chained together by American supremacist jingoism. But now everything has to be fucking sandbox, which is boring. Guys, you have to understand, unless your game is very specifically designed to complement a sandbox, all you're doing is adding a fucking commute between story missions. All you're doing is, like, you could have a level that has, like, a couple of interesting, well-developed places, or you can just copy-paste an entire city, and you're, like, walking down and going, well, that's the city. That's a big city, all right. Not interacting, none of the doors open, you can't do anything. People on the street are just fucking window dressing to the set piece, and it cuts down on everything, and it makes everything fun. But like LA Noire, yeah, I can't believe they did that shit, man. But now people can't even fathom anything else. Like, right now, I bet if somebody thought, like, making a first-person shooter set in a city, like, their immediate thought is, oh yeah, you simply build the city in a sandbox map, and then you just have, like, stuff to do across it, like Ubisoft tokens, where it's like, oh, here's a sandbox, here's a thing to liberate, here's a tower to go up on top of. Like, that's their default thought, you know? But it's everything, and all it does is make every game feel the same. There are no creative liberties taken. There's no, like, unique... like... This goes back into, like, the realism thing, too, right? Man, now that we have graphics that can basically emulate realism, at least to an acceptable degree, you know, it's close enough for my standards, at least. Now we have to realize we didn't actually want them. There are a couple of games that I think benefit from it, like maybe The Last of Us. You know, Red Dead Redemption 2 goes for the hyper-realism angle. But most games do not need fucking hyper-realism. Either in, like, the graphics or, like, the representation of the world in which you're, you know... The Max Payne games, the early ones. Oh yeah, you mean back when they would make, like, a level and you would have to get through the level? This is why I can't play those stupid fucking Hitman games, because I don't give a shit about, like, wow, you made 3 maps and in each of them you can kill a dude 87 ways. That's great. So what's the content? You're supposed to replay these maps? Kill him with a sniper. Kill him by dropping the chandelier on him. Kill him by convincing the stripper to poison his drink after she's done collecting. Kill him with, like... No, I don't care! Like, why is the Hitman series, which is supposed to be about assassination, now about, like... It's literally like the modern-day equivalent of those, like, Kill the Buddy Newgrounds games, where it's like, they would have a simple, like, Adobe Flash physics engine for a little dude, with, like, ball hands, and he'd be like, use the rocket launcher, and he'd, like, bounce around. And then it's like, and his blood gets everywhere, and it's just like in a little box. That's what the Hitman games are. It's a puzzle game? No, puzzles have to be difficult to solve and can't have 58 fucking solutions. Also, puzzles can't have the one solution you can press at any point called gun. God. You played Teardown? Teardown I enjoyed because of its speedrunning elements in the earlier game. Later on in Teardown, when it was more about, just, like, trying to avoid the bots or whatever, that was a lot less interesting. But Teardown was unique in its own way, yeah. Fosh is such a paranoid with video games. Dude, yeah, fucking whatever. Okay, yeah, okay, whatever. You guys just enjoy your fucking slot. You guys go to watch the fucking Marvel movies. Watch the movie, sit in the chair, wait 20 minutes after it's done so you can hear, like, some guy called Scribbler Blimbo show up and say, like, it's time to party. And then it closes, goes to black, and you fucking... Then you're like, oh my god, I can't wait to buy the next movie. So the fucking release schedule is so tight. Whatever. I don't care. Do whatever you want. It's fine. It's all games can be the same. That's okay. It's totally fine that Ubisoft will just like build just a fucking open map and then sprinkle 87 identical, not 87, far more than 87, identical fucking trials and collectibles all over it, and that's the same as having an actual game. It's fine. It's totally okay. Nothing needs to change. Everything can be the same. It's fine. Yeah, true, you're so above it, Doc. Yeah, you know what? I am above it. Fuck you, okay? Nah, fuck you. You fucking pedestrians. You fucking people. God damn it. Yeah, I am, actually. Because I give a shit, okay? Even if my shitty fucking opinions aren't your shitty fucking opinions, at least I think about mine. Don't get angry when other people have strong opinions of them. Oh my god. Fucking death of the critic here. Jesus Christ. Everyone... so unfun. Let people enjoy things. No, you don't get to enjoy things. No, you enjoy them enough. You live in modernity. Even if you people are fucking poor, you can still torrent games that are designed by teams of scientists to rewire your brains to feel satisfaction every time numbers go up. You are enjoying enough things. It is time to think. It's time to think now. We have to think, and thinking means your brain hurts, okay? Thinking means your brain hurts. That's what thinking does to your brain. It's time to think now. The brain has to hurt. It's part of living, okay? It's time. We have to make the brain hurt. I'm gonna fucking... Every game I play on this channel from now on is going to be like a 1990s, like, experimental. We're gonna play System Shock 2. And I'm just going to spend the entire fucking time talking about how actually it's good design to be able to RPG level up your way into literally not being able to finish the game. I'm gonna play through, well, let's say Deus Ex. Deus Ex actually is really fucking good, so, you know. RPGs don't even let you do anything anymore. You fucking shooter with RPG elements. Fucking bullshit. Does anyone like that shit? Like playing oh, here. You start off the game with like a rifle and you have no fucking wavering when you hold up your gun. And then it's like, here's 5% additional fucking damage in the 2nd and 18th round of every 30 round magazine. Here you go, fuckwit. Thanks for collecting the collectibles, you fucking retard. Here you go, you stupid fucking piece of shit. Now you have plus 0.2% sprint acceleration speed when you hit the shift key. You fucking moron. Drink my piss, fucking dog. Fucking... No! You play Deus Ex or something, and it's like, you start off the game incapable of doing anything. You fucking start off Deus Ex or System Shock like, not intelligent enough to use a rock. You're on the goddamn spaceship, and you fucking pick up a rock, and it's like, you're sorry, bitch tits. This takes 6 strength and 4 int to wield. You have to research rock first. How do you hold a rock? How do you hold a fucking rock? Do you hold it like this? Do you like do that? How do you roll it right? You don't know! So you have to research it. And then finally you research rock, and then you run up to a fucking zombie with a shotgun and you hit it with a fucking rock, and it does -8 damage and you break your wrist. Because A, you're on the wrong aiming mode, and B, you don't have enough fucking points in agility to swing your arm at the proper angle. So you fucking broke it, and then you die, and then you have to restart your entire character. All games should be like this. Fuck you. Unironically though, yes, all games should be like this. Every fucking game should be like Liberty Island and Deus Ex, where they give you the rocket launcher, SMG and the sniper rifle, and they're like, which do you want, dumb fuck? Which fucking idiot? What do you want, you fucking idiot? And you're like, you're fucking Denton, and despite being a nano-augmented super warrior, your aim wavers like this whenever you're holding up a gun, and you have to point 17 points when they're like light guns before your aim steadies a little bit or something. You have to fucking swimming and poison resistance. You put points in fucking swimming and poison resistance, man. Fuck. But now it's all shooter with RPG elements. So now people can just get through the whole game ignoring the RPG system because it doesn't matter. If these systems are going to be in your game, they have to mean something, okay? Nothing is more frustrating than having games with tacked on RPG and fucking crafting elements, because they're just like the vestigial rot that grows on all games now. Like, all games just generate survival crafting RPG elements the way like metro systems generate police officers, or like military industrial complexes generate like blank checks and fucking like funny, like you're fucking. So you just like, you're just playing the game and it's like, oh, I actually, like, you check your menu and there's like this extra menu tab you haven't clicked on for the entire game. It's like, oh, I have 78 points in, oh, let's see, well, I can get plus 3% aim steadiness when I use this type of rifle, and oh, this is nice. Now whenever I'm faced with an enemy that does jellyfish damage, I have a 0.4% chance to resist damage entirely. Great. Like, let's do some crafting. Great. Let's have crafting. We can craft ammo, except all the enemies drop ammo, so you never need to craft any ammo. You have enough ammo already. And you can craft inferior versions of all the equipment you already fucking have. Fantastic. Great. Every game with crafting, if you don't craft something for every scenario, you should just fucking die instantly, okay? If your game has crafting, you need fucking tinnitus medicine and a grenade and bandages for every fucking encounter, or you fucking die. You should not be able to bunny hop your way through the entire game without interacting with the core system. Like Minecraft. I've played Underrail, John Paul Twitter. And I have problems. Are you ready to do this now? You all don't know what passion feels like. The soulless bugman. You consume your Soylent Green and watch your Marvel movies. And I, running forward to the television screen with the sledgehammer, show you beauty, unlike which you've never seen. Is this a roundabout way of saying you want to club people in a game of rocks? Well, obviously in every game you should be able to club people with rocks, yeah. Is Stalker good? There are 3 Stalkers. Who you out there? Show us your Steam list. Every game that's not. Your activity, it's all just gonna be fucking Underworld and Warhammer. Way too much shit by hours. How do you sort by hours? Oh, but for the past 2 weeks, it would all just be Gunfire Reborn and Total War Warhammer 3. I saw hentai? I don't think I have any hentai games. Why is there wallpaper just black? It's an autism thing. Yeah, 99% of hentai games on Steam are garbage. Like, massive fucking garbage. Another industry laid low by a lack of innovation, by the way. By the way. Why do you have opinions on this? The people in chat told me to try it. Video games are dead. That's true, yeah. I do think you can make high quality. Isn't like Tower Princess Tower Princess looks really cute. Wait. No, this is a different game. Tower Princess. Hentai? Well, that is hentai, but that's not what I was thinking. I can't. Need to play some games that fuck you up emotionally? For me, that was Amori. Amori was the one that prepared the strongest. Yeah, Amori fucking images. Yeah. I feel like gameplay-wise, there might not be too much that can be done to innovate anymore. Kill yourself. You remind me of that, like, Postmaster General from the 19th century who said that everything that has been invented, like, everything that can be invented has already been invented. Nah, there's so much room. There's so much room. We can grow out so much farther. We can go so far. We can touch the sky. Sorry, Heroic Predator. Dope. You enjoy the Sunless Sins from the Sky series? I haven't played them. I'm put off by them because I don't like that they don't have a real end, it seems like. It's just like a big open world and you choose your own, like, goal and then you go for that. But I want, like, a proper end. I want a final boss. I know they have endings, but I mean, like, I want a proper fucking... Blanca Blue, I have no direct attachment to any of the stuff in the mod. It still fucked me up. Oh, sweet, I'll check that out. No, yeah, I'll check that out in a second. Why do you think technology and culture is so stagnant in the 21st century compared to the 20th? It's not! It's not! It's not! That's incorrect. It's not, okay? The problem... The better... Okay. The better you get at making the accepted iteration of a form, the harder it is to deviate from it, okay? This is why a ton of modern shooters feel the same, but, like, if you go back 20 or 30 years, there's way more variance in, like, some types of genres that nowadays other tropes kind of cement, you know? You find out what works over time, and there are things that work better than other things, and eventually you get, like, a functional archetype of a game, but the thing is, that's bullshit, okay? It's okay to make games that have fucky design. It's okay to make unpolished games with fucky design. That's fine, you know? Not everything has to be this, like, perfect, flawless, AAA, like, appealing to the maximum possible number of people. It's okay to make weird shit. Some of my favorite fucking games are, like... different. And they only really get appreciated in retrospect. Think about it. The Dark Souls series, enormously popular now. Demon's Souls, not as popular, right? It was like, why is this so fucking hard? Why is this so punishing? Why are things like this? Why am I so slow? Why can't I fucking move cancel or whatever? Pathologic! Dude, the original and modern Pathologic, 1 and 2, both of them are like a fucking designer's nightmare. If you explained Pathologic 1 to, like, a modern AAA game designer, they would kill themselves before you got through the basic pitch. If you gave them an elevator pitch, they would be like slamming the emergency open doors button to toss themselves into the void of the fucking elevator shaft. Because it's insane. It's like, okay, you're gonna okay, so first of all, everything is going to be unrelentingly depressing. There will be no rewards for anything you do. It's going to be ugly, deliberately, and also accidentally. And also the whole game is you walking around and thinking about what the story means, and the story is going to be people reading, like, 18th century poetry at you in giant text blocks every time you talk to them. And any mistake you make will prove your downfall and death, and also we will never allow you to predict any of the systems after them. Like, by the time you're like the fucking game dev you're talking to, their head looks like Swiss cheese, which is fucking hollow. But it's a great game. Well, it's something. It's worthwhile. It's artistically worthwhile. It's like drawing a big booty bitch. You know what I'm talking about? It's like drawing a fucking big titty bitch, okay? It's like if you're drawing a lady, God help me with this mouse. If you're drawing a lady and it's like okay, so this is what a woman looks like, okay? So it looks like this, okay? Okay? So this is what a woman, okay? And so basically at first people were like, okay, so how should we draw women, you know? And they were like, maybe we should draw them with B cup boobs. And they were like, okay, but what if we tried C cup boobs? And then okay, but what if we tried D cup boobs? Okay, and eventually they settled on like triple Z's or whatever. Okay, and then like having settled upon the ideal form here, okay, what they did was they were like, okay, now that we've settled on this, we don't ever have to make another type of woman. You know, like this is it. Like we don't have to make any other type of woman than this. You know what I mean? And then somebody is like, okay, well, what if we made with small boobies? And they're like, what are you, retarded? What are you, stupid? Kill yourself immediately. Die. Terrible. And that's what it's like. Where was I going with this? Okay, wait. The point that I was trying to get at is that deliberately making games that deviate from accepted normalized design is like drawing characters that aren't conventionally attractive. You feel like you have it down pat with what people like to play or like to look at, but there's value in not just having everything you produce in game or in drawings be the like archetypal idea. Does that make sense? It's like there's value in the variance, because nobody would ever say like, why did you have this drawing and one of the characters is like kind of unattractive? Like, doesn't that ruin the drawing? Well, no, it doesn't, because a beautiful painting doesn't have to exclusively contain things that are themselves beautiful. Variance can enhance the overall product, and likewise, games that are, from a design perspective, insane, like Pathologic, can still be really valuable. Juliet 34, you will not be able to make Matt Walsh cry just by asking. Frankly, I never know what to say when people are like, hey, this conservative grifter is coming to my university soon, what do I say? Because if you were charismatic enough to ever sound good in their presence, you would know what to say. With all due respect. It's not just about what you say, it's how you deliver it. And if you knew how to deliver it, you wouldn't need to ask me what to say. Especially for people like Matt Walsh. You know, who not exactly like a big science and data, let's sit down and figure out the facts kind of guy. Be confident. Aren't you agreeing that culture is stagnated? Well, we still make a lot of money. It's just, I'm curious if you think Doom 2016 or the original Dooms are better than Eternal. I think that Doom Eternal is better. Having played a good number of them. I played Doom 3. I'm not playing with this at all. What are your thoughts on the shit? Absolutely shit. A waste of its somewhat unique art style. I love playing looter shooters, where after every fight I have to spend 8 minutes looking around to find a gun with green numbers that are 1% better than what the green numbers on my gun. It was fun as a young teen. I had fun with it when I was younger. What are your thoughts on Bioshock Infinite? From a narrative perspective, Bioshock Infinite is a total fucking mess. From a gameplay perspective, Bioshock Infinite feels good. But it doesn't feel great to play in a very unique way, I think. I just noticed you complain so much. Well, what do you want? What do you want? You just, oh, I like that game. I like that popular game. I like this popular game. I like, yeah. Think about things. Please. I'm a fucking politics streamer. I'm Bosch. I'm not going to be that agreeable, even when I am in a good mood. Elizabeth in Infinite is the best companion in any game IMO. I agree. Well, I don't know if the best companion ever, but I do think that Elizabeth is a good companion in that game. Booker DeWitt and Elizabeth were both very charismatic, fun to listen to. I genuinely cared about both of them. And Elizabeth was programmed well enough that she would take cover, not get in the way of firefights, and she would give you ammo. And all that's dope, yeah. Well designed, yeah. Have you played Dusk? Yes. Oh god, it's just gonna be like this whole stream. I can't talk about politics like this. Oh. She was not charismatic, she was boring? You thought Elizabeth was boring? I liked her. Elizabeth is one of the very, very, very few times in a game where they've made me care about the like dad-daughter like dynamic. You know what I mean? Like here's rough guy like talking to whatever. I like that. Breath of the Wild was so pretty but so empty. Yeah, because Breath of the Wild was mid. Breath of the Wild was mid. Breath of the Wild is a fucking Lego box. Alright? But if I wanted to play Legos, I would buy Legos. Got 3 fucking enemies. Christ. Open world games, man. I'm sorry, you guys do remember that the cool part of Zelda was its linearity, right? We're not playing Mario over here, where you're hop, bounce, skipping around the world. Like, the fun of the Zelda games was about, like, proceeding through this world and, like, uncovering the dungeons, making your way through, doing the puzzles and everything. But they have barely any fucking puzzles in Breath of the Wild. It's all just those fucking shrines, and none of the shrines were interesting. If you think those shrines were interesting, you're lying to yourself. They were, like, pop-up book distractions for infants. You get into the little shrine area. Wow, use the kinetic thing, the magnet to do the thing. All like 7 IQ fucking... Well, wow! Square block goes in square hole! And there's 120 of them. Yeah, a few of them were fine, but... And then the dungeons were like 2 minutes long. Breath of the Wild was like ACNH in my mind, a screensaver game, just there to be calm and entertaining. Yeah, but that sucks, man. I'm telling you, and this is true, by the way, nobody here remembers any specific content from Breath of the Wild. Not one of you. You don't remember anything. What you remember is the vibe. The feeling of looking out at the big open landscape and knowing you could go anywhere. But you don't remember anything specific. Not one of you. If you think you do, you're lying to yourself. You're gaslighting yourself, you idiot. Quit being crazy. Evidan 666. You remember the vibes. Now, I remember Ocarina of Time. I remember all of it. I loved Ocarina of Time. Everyone does, because it's a good-ass game. I remember all the shit. All the shit. What happens? Well, the fairy wakes you up in the tree, and then you go down, and then you get the little training sword when you crawl into that tunnel, and then you walk around and don't get hit by the boulders, and the guy accosts you, and then you have to go to the great Deku tree, and then you go in the Deku tree, and then you fucking fight the shit inside, and there's a spider in there, and you jump down through the web, and then you go down to the little water area, and then there's the big creepy spider with the eyeball that you fight. You gotta deal with the slingshot. And then you fight that, and you get the thingy, and then you go out, and then you get the ability to go out into the open world, and then you go out in Hyrule Field, and bum ba bum 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 ba bum 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 and then that fucking owl bothers you. That fucking owl. And then you go out, you can go a bunch of places, but really you've got to go to Hyrule, and it's there, and then you can go see Princess Zelda, but then fucking Ganon Dick is there. But now you've got a goal, and then Sheik was there, and Sheik's like, okay, you got to do some shit. Got to go to Goron Temple, up on Mount Doom. And then you go over there, and there's the things, and there's the water guys, and there's the big giant on top, and then the Gorons need these rocks, but not the other rocks that are there. You need the different rocks. And then you go, and then there's the lizard that eats the bombs. All games should simply be Ocarina of Time. Over and over again, now that I think about it. All you need, okay? Just take Ocarina of Time and give it the dodge roll from Dark Souls. And you've got it. Just give it Dark Souls combat and you've got it. I mean, Dark Souls is literally just Zelda anyway, so whatever. Okay? Just do that. Also, all games should look like this. We never needed graphical technology that was beyond this. Anyone who disagrees with me is dumb. This was it. We were fine. We didn't have to go past this. This was fine. This was perfect, even. No, that's ugly as shit. You're a simpleton, and you'll die alone. This is the epitome of world design. This cannot be improved upon. Or allow me to show you the alternative. Wait, sorry, I was doing... Alright, I swallowed my bile that I got from seeing this image. Hyrule Field in Unreal 4. Oh, God. Bloom? Yeah, because every dipshit who fucking... It's something to do with Unreal, guys. Something about people who make games in the Unreal Engine. For some fucking reason, they have to tune up all of the post-processing. I don't know why they do that. Why the fuck? It's like, it's like, does the Unreal 4, like, game generation engine just have, like, 87 additional buttons hidden everywhere that are the add post-processing button, and people just accidentally hit it over and over again? Like, as they're constructing the game? I have no idea why. That looks better and you know it. Lumu! Really? You really think this looks better than this? Yes, it does? Oh my fucking god, dude. Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't fucking believe you people. What is this shit? Is this seriously how the 3DS looked? The 3DS remake? Why'd they make it like this? Why did they keep the low poly textures on the grass and the ground, but then have a higher fidelity? This is disgusting. Oh, is it time? Is it that time of the month where I go over the fucking Warcraft 3 Reforged? Is it that time? It never
Welcome
ends.
back, everybody, to another episode of...
Shut up! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Comparison off.
Shut up. Dude, look at how fucking good the old guy looked. Oh, it's almost like Warcraft has a cartoony style and they knew what they were doing and they stuck with that. And then for some reason, why the fuck does a regular fucking soldier on the right look like some kind of giga god? What the fuck? Look at him. The way the light reflects off the gold and the fucking eye visor makes him look like some sort of god warrior. This is a regular dude. He's just a goofy ass dude. You know what he sounds like when you click on him? Yes, me lord. All right. Stick it right to him. Ah, love humans, hate orcs. Simple as. And he looks like this. Why does he look so fucking uncanny? Look at this. Why? Oh my god, he looked so good before. It's a cartoony peasant model. Why does he look like he has the fucking plague? Why would you give him the cartoony beard polygons, but the hyper realistic fucking skin texture? It looks like realistic Mario. Like the rendered drawings. Why? Dude, look at this. Everything on the left looks so cohesive. Yeah, you've got your goofy ass models and little fucking Timmy down here with his gnome head. And then over here, it just looks like somebody like moved a bunch of 3D models into a space in Unity. It doesn't have any cohesion. They just like buy off the Unity asset store. Why would you keep the tiered polygons of the original, but then shade them realistically? What happened to Dark Shadows? Why? I'm gonna throw up. Oh my god, do you see that run? Oh my god. Oh. Look. Look. Why did they texture everything more realistically while selectively keeping the cartoony proportions? The fence here in the remade version looks more cartoony than the design for the fence in the old one. It looks so out of place. Look at that. It's like a cartoon fence. Look at these fucking realistic, doofy-ass models. Where are the higher tier units? I never even see this shit for like the orcs or whatever. Is that the new? That can't be new. What? Oh, there it is. Oh, God, that's disgusting. Why does it never show any of the other guys? You know why it never shows what any of the night elves, orcs, or undead look like? It's because no one plays that far into the Reforged. I have to stop. We have to stop. Wait, I have to move my camera back. I think we can safely chalk up this stream to just like a total loss. This stream has just been a complete conceptual loss. Just an absolute waste of time. Yeah, this sucked. Today I did. Really, honestly, I should just refund all the donos from this stream. All right, I'm dropping the pretense. I'm just talking to chat. Let me finish reading these donos. We're just chatting. We're chit-chatting. Glitchy Me, thank you for the $2. Pratik Maitra, thank you for the $20. I really appreciate that. You're taking deletes in the Indian caste system. I don't know enough about it to say much, but in general, I'm pretty fucking opposed to caste systems. Thank you. Final Tyrant with the $10. Yeah, I remember when games were good. Now it's just ads for microtransactions wrapped around a game. Yeah. Lifeform, thank you for the $5. I have not heard of the Lobotomy Corporation. Soapball with the $5. Thank you very much. Trashomancer Dudition, thank you for the $5. I played Inscription. It was good. EW, thanks for $5. Majority report got roasted by a caller from Ukraine today, and these cowards are still dying on the hill of conviction ways if it's not the case. Nice. They wouldn't talk to me. Goldbot, thanks to 2 Canadian. Maybe. James Mitchell, thank you for the $5. Sandbox games exploded in popularity thanks to GTA or Burnout Paradise. No, it's due to lead paint and asbestos, actually. Zeitzy, thank you for the tier 4 sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I miss campaigns in games. I've really come to hate multiplayer with its oversaturation in the gaming industry. Totally agree. Whereas politics? This is politics. This is political. Thank you. Level below for $5. What are your thoughts on quirky Earthbound like in the RPGs? Good. As long as they're genuinely quirky and interesting. I mean, I really like Amori. Everyone likes Undertale. Ball, thank you for $2 for recommendation. Mango Castle for $5. How much does the art style of games appeal to you? Like Grace is beautiful. I'll say this much: if somebody's trying to sell me on a game for being beautiful, I usually don't have an interest in playing it. I look like for games, I am concerned with things like for me, like the art style is of secondary, tertiary importance. Just not as much so. It's good when it's there, but, you know. Crouchline Condition, thank you for $2. City Queen, thank you for $5. Miss DJ, thank you for $5 to both. Really appreciate it. What do you think about hair highlights? I've always wanted to get like a dark red streak in my hair, but I'm too old now, I guess. No, I'm not, but whatever. Exactly, Gally. I have the goofy goblin game. I absolutely do. Thank you. Ellen Payne, $5. Not sure I like the assumption that I don't think if I have a different taste in games than you do, TBH. But I don't say you don't think if you have a different taste in games. I've said that. My problem is people who think that I'm doing something wrong by acting like that. That's my issue. Disagreeing with me is fine. I mean, I'll still say you're retarded, but I mean it in a joking way. I'll say you're retarded in a non-jokey way if you take issue with the process by which I'm like getting grumpy about games. You know, that's the issue that I have. There are people who genuinely just don't like games, or like things they enjoy being criticized, which I think is a bad mentality. 1,000 Dumplings, I've never played the document. In fact, I know nothing about it. Delvasetti, thank you for the 2 sub. Subbing so I can piss off chat by mentioning I hate Bioshock Infinite to, a lot of people. $7. RTS games are a genre that I wish hadn't fallen so hard. What are your preferred styles of RTS? CAW understanding. I'll always have a preference for like StarCraft style RTS. Heartbroken Land at $5. Yes, I've seen Ego Raptor's sequelitis video on that. It's very, very good. Selvball with the $5. No, that's okay. Red Cascadian, thanks for the tier 2 sub. Really appreciate that. More leftists should get hired at Amazon warehouses to try and organize them. Bring your friends. Yes. I think more leftists.
But if you've been under a couple rocks and you don't know why, this video will explain it to you.
Elon Musk multitasks better than you. Very few people have influenced more global industries all at once. And as the ambassador of future tech behind some of the world's coolest toys, this young billionaire's passing resemblance to Tony Stark is not a coincidence.
For the gazillionth time, we have to thank Elon Musk's big brain for coming up with another idea to completely revolutionize civilization.
A future of abundance, a future where there is no poverty, where you can have whatever you want in terms of products and services. It really is a fundamental transformation of civilization as we know it.
I mean, does this man never sleep?
Elon Musk truly is a visionary future man.
This is it, folks. I mean, sure, all his other ideas were complete duds that went nowhere. But this new idea of the robot, this sounds like the big one. I mean, me, personally, as a Tesla fan, was surprised that no one had thought of this before.
Invaders from the fifth dimension. Invaders from the fifth dimension.
Now, Elon had two versions of the robot to show us. One less advanced and one more advanced. The more advanced one, of course, could stand up on its own, could just about move on its own and wave, kinda. I mean, I was really impressed by that. All of this from the man who knows more about manufacturing than anyone alive on Earth.
At this point, I think I know more about manufacturing than anyone currently alive on Earth.
And the Tesla fanbase was ignited with videos like the real reason Tesla bot will make us all rich, and Tesla bot has won the race already. Humanoid robots are essentially a solved problem now, and I'm sure Tesla shares spiked on this great news. Right? What's that? They crashed 10%? Well, I guess it's kind of a spike. And that spike has continued, meaning that now Tesla has lost some 40% of its value this year. And it's at this point that Elon Musk finds out that he really is in a box and will have to buy Twitter after all. Which means he's going to have to come up with $50 billion from somewhere, like selling Tesla stock at almost a year's low. But there are multiple factors why Tesla is going through the floor at the moment. With Musk tweeting that now would be a really good time for Ukraine to give Russia everything that it wanted. You know, kind of echoing Kremlin talking points. Leading to, I kid you not, the Kremlin thanking Elon Musk for his contribution, which led to some interesting replies on Twitter, mostly involving Teslas being marked with Z, and the Ukrainian ambassador to Germany telling him to F off, and how no one will buy his crappy Teslas now. But not just happy with that, he doubled down and tweeted out this 2012, like a decade-old election map of Ukraine, saying that the blue was the pro-Russian party, which again got him featured on the Russian news, who just loved him for this sort of thing. You know, so glossing over the 2019 election of Zelensky, which people were happy to correct him. And so he had a Twitter poll as well to go with it. And when Twitter didn't give him the response that he wanted, why, of course it couldn't be that he was wrong. No, it must have been the biggest bot attack he had ever seen. And no, he wasn't going to stop there. He had to tweet something about Taiwan, which again got him thanked by the Chinese government. Kind of makes you think that Elon Musk might be looking around for some people with a lot of money that he can borrow for something. Not quite sure what. But we can come back to the bad day for Tesla later. Meanwhile, in an earlier and shittier Star Wars episode, you know, where things are less sophisticated if you take the fairing off and more sophisticated if you put fairing on them. Well, Tesla had its less sophisticated robot which shuffled onto a flat, level stage with no obstacles. It showed exactly zero interaction with the environment. And of course, just look at that amazing finger dexterity. Putting it more as an automaton than an actual robot. Yes, the best demo of the world's most advanced robotics featuring moving parts. Yeah, this would be really impressive if it hadn't been done better. Much, much, much better over a decade ago. You know, on a nicely brightly lit stage where you can actually see what's going on. But hey, it's Elon Musk. Bill Shatner, tell us again what Elon Musk's passion in life is.
At 12, he built a video game he called Blaster, which started his lifelong love of inventing things that already exist.
Naturally, being the star of the show, they really wanted to showcase what he could do on stage, which is why out of a 3-hour event, it was on stage for an entire 80 seconds. I could just shuffle on the stage, waved, danced, maybe, and then shuffled off again.
Welcome to Tesla AI Day 2022. We've got some really exciting things to show you.
That was it. It showed no interaction whatsoever with its environment. And if you were impressed by that level of artificial intelligence, you will be blown away by the more advanced Tesla robot featuring a single extra piece of fairing, which now means for some reason it can't stand up, needs loads of people to move it on the stage, and it does even less. I mean, just look at that gyro stabilization as the robot automatically tries to keep its balance as it's being rocked around. Boston Dynamics, show us how a robot should behave when it's being moved around to automatically try and regain its balance. No, I mean, I had gyroscopes on quadcopters that were more impressive at keeping their balance than, oh my god, what are you doing? Yeah, clap, look, clap everyone, look at the audience, it's like no response whatsoever. It's like, what? Whoa, I'm going to be impressed by this? And the entire demo of everything that their advanced Tesla robot could do, which was barely move its fingers, maybe, was an entire 50 seconds out of a 3-hour event. Yeah, I think they might have been trying to stretch this one out a little. And Elon's there thinking, come on, think Elon, think. We've got nothing to show. How can we make this look really futuristic-y? I know, we'll do what I always do when I have nothing to show. And disco lighting. Now, bizarrely, before Elon Musk went on to say how this robot would completely change civilization and render in an age of abundance where everyone was rich and happy and did whatever they wanted, he added this rather interesting caveat.
I do want to set some expectations with respect to our Optimus robot. As you know, last year it was just a person in a robot suit. But we've now come a long way, and it's, I think, compared to that, it's going to be very impressive.
At this point, I think I know more about manufacturing than anyone currently alive on Earth.
Yeah, but they had all this stuff about robot vision, right?
Autopilot neural network training as especially trained for the car directly on that new platform. That's my watering can.
Yeah, when you see a rendered view, that's the robot. That's the world the robot sees.
Did they? Odd, they didn't show any of that on stage. There was zero interaction between the automaton and the environment.
So this is essentially the same self-driving computer that runs in your Tesla cars, by the way.
Yeah, in what way exactly? In that it's made of silicon and runs on electricity? That's sort of essentially the same. Because if that's the same self-driving software that runs on a Tesla, then it's completely non-responsive to the environment. Seriously, it shows no awareness to be able to move around objects whatsoever. You see, this is the thing. In the last year, I got a robot vacuum cleaner, a new, more advanced robot vacuum cleaner for about $500.
So this is the sort of thing that a off-the-shelf robot vacuum cleaner will do these days.
Now, in this thing, out of the box, you have to plonk it down, and it maps out the environment. It finds the foreign objects, and then avoids them, and cleans everything else. Sorry, it's got an AI autopilot, uses machine learning to adapt to any environment. But really, this is a more impressive robotics demonstration than anything Tesla had on stage. In that at least this robot could interact with its environment. And I could demonstrate live this robot interacting with the environment and doing stuff. Something that the Optimus automaton was incapable of doing. And this is somehow going to make human labor obsolete. And I want to be clear, this isn't some amazing experimental cutting-edge robot. This is something you can buy off the shelf. You know, plug from, say, an Amazon affiliates thing. This is actually a product that exists. And this is a far more impressive demonstration of a robot interacting with its environment than what Tesla demonstrated on stage. Now, sure, a lot of grad students did a lot of work on it, but I don't care how much work went into this. I care about what it can do, which is arthritic senior citizen speed as a giant bowl of apple puree food coma is setting in. Even the pre-recorded stuff is deeply unconvincing. I mean, just watch this clip here.
Yeah, we wanted to show a little bit more what we've done over the past few months with the pod, and just walking around and dancing on stage. Just humble beginnings, but you can see the autopilot neural networks running as it's just retrained for the pod.
Now, you might have thought that you actually watched the robot actually do something there. So you might have thought that you watched the robot carry a package up to a table, put the package down from another camera angle, and then you're watching the same thing as the robot walks away from the robot's vision. In reality, what you see is there's a guy on the table next to where the automaton is approaching, carrying a package, and in the very next shot, all of a sudden, his computer is closed down, and he's standing behind the robot. And in the very next shot, the screen that was blank before now has a robot on it for no particular reason. And boom, in an instant, the guy has got his laptop back out and is typing on it. Not only that, the desks have gone from being clearly separated to clearly pushed together. And when you need that level of editing to claim that your automaton can actually do things, let's just say I'm skeptical.
See, wasn't that awesome? Like and share, or print this out and send it to your grandma.
But hey, this is the Elon Musk who had $1 billion crusade to stop the AI apocalypse. Now it's back in 2017. Now he's already on AI Day 2. You know, accelerating the AI apocalypse because, well, anything's better than buying Twitter. Which brings us to 5 times Elon Musk promised to change the world.
It really is a fundamental transformation of civilization as we know it.
And delivered nothing, or almost nothing. Number 1, the robo-taxi. Now you might think these most outrageous promises here were the robots. But nah, it's the robo-taxi, the most delusional promise that any human being has ever made. You see, Elon Musk was promising robo-taxis by 2020.
And we expect to have the first operating robo-taxis next year, with no one in them.
And even though there's no sign that they will ever be ready, Elon Musk is still very confident that they'll be ready in 2 years' time. No. I was very confident about 2020 and 2021 and 2022. And now I've got a really good feeling about 2024. But the real reason I'm showing you this is because I want you to contrast AI Day 2 in 2022 with Autonomy Day in 2019. Just to get a scope of how much of these promises are pure vaporware.
So expect this to operate is sort of like a combination of maybe the Uber and Airbnb model. When you use the car, we'll show you our ride-sharing app. So you're able to summon the car from the parking lot, get in, and go for a drive. So the current cost of Model 3 Robotaxi is less than $38,000. We expect that number to improve over time. 2 years from now, we make a car that has no steering wheels or pedals.
And you'll be stunned to find out that even now, years on, Elon Musk has not made a car with no steering wheel and no pedal.
And if we need to accelerate that time, we can always just delete parts. Easy. And maybe it ends up being $25,000 or less.
But this is where we get into the part where Elon Musk makes the most delusional promise ever made in any Ponzi scheme ever.
You say, what would be the probable gross profit from a single robotaxi? We think probably something on the order of $30,000 per year.
So that would be what? 100% return on investment per year.
So in nominal dollars, that would be, a little over $300,000 over the course of 7 years. Might be higher. I think these consumptions are actually relatively conservative.
Bullshit!
By the middle of next year, we'll have over 1 million Tesla cars on the road with full self-driving hardware, feature complete, at a reliability level that we would consider that no one needs to pay attention. We will have over 1 million robo-taxis on the road.
At the end of 2022, Tesla has 0 robo-taxis on the road.
So the robot can actually do a lot more than we just showed you.
Yeah, sure it can, Elon. But coming back to the robo-taxis, the mere fact that he could say this at a public event, Autonomy Day 2019, and not get laughed off stage goes a long way to showing why Tesla is riding one of the biggest techno-Ponzi stock bubbles in history. If I give you $30,000 to invest in the stock market, where inflation is a historical couple of percent or that sort of thing, high-risk stocks will give you 10% return, with a much higher chance of actually losing some of your investment. Low risk, maybe 5. Elon Musk was promising 100% return on investment, guaranteed, with 0 risk. Indeed, if Elon had actually believed a single word of what he was saying here, they would have stopped selling Teslas immediately. Because at that point, Teslas would be effectively money printing machines. And if you've invented a money printing machine, you don't sell them. You keep them for yourself to generate profit for yourself. And the mere fact that Elon Musk was selling them kind of points to the fact that he knew it was all bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, the fundamental message that consumers should be taking today is that it's financially insane to buy anything other than a Tesla. They'll be like owning a horse in 3 years. I mean, fine if you want to own a horse, but you should go into it with that expectation.
Actually, the take-home message is, if what you're saying is true, then it would be financially insane to sell them. But we don't really need to speculate here. What did he say? 1 million robo-taxis by 2020. So it should be about $30,000 profit per year per robo-taxi. So they should have generated about $30 billion in the first year, and $30 billion in the second, $30 billion in the third, meaning that they should have generated somewhere in the region of $100 billion of money so far. Actual money generated by robo-taxis? 0.
Like, people should really think about their purchase. Any other vehicle. It's basically crazy to buy any other car.
Hey, what the hell's going on?
Oh, I didn't get rich by writing a lot of checks.
The fundamental message that consumers should be taking today is that it's financially insane to buy anything other than a Tesla.
Actually, I think the take-home message for consumers really should be, beware of con men making bogus promises. Interestingly, this was all meant to be based on the full self-driving that was the same thing that's meant to be powering the robot.
This is essentially the same full self-driving computer that runs in your Tesla cars, by the way.
You know, the robot that doesn't show any ability to detect obstacles in the environment. Incidentally, I'll bet dollars to donuts there's no full self-driving in this thing. Else they would have actually demoed it. You know, yeah, get someone to stand in its way and it can shuffle around them at senior citizen speed. You know, a really, really simple demonstration that it actually interacts with the environment. But no, none of that in the actual on-stage demonstration. Now remember, it was 5 or so years ago that Tesla first showed their full self-driving, where the human was only in the car for legal reasons. The car was doing everything on its own. Well, maybe technically right, the human is there only for legal reasons, you know, to take legal responsibility if the autopilot kills someone. In fact, here's a mere test. If it really is full self-driving, and I'm going to channel Marvel a bit here, Uncle Ben had a saying about great power. Like, say, for instance, with driving a car comes great responsibility, and with full self-driving comes full responsibility. Naturally, we know that if Tesla was actually held to full responsibility for their full self-driving, it would be called glorified cruise control, or driving assistance, or some crap like that by the end of the day. However, you know all of this was fake, because otherwise, how did they have a level 5 full self-driving 6 years ago in 2016? Yet, even today, drivers are required to have their hands on the steering wheel at all times and ready to take over at an instant. The drivers of full self-driving are basically required to be driving. Remind me, how much is this a full self-driving system again? And you'll be happy to know, with this amazing product that may be the worst thing of a long time, the price is just going to to $15,000. From this, you'll learn the most important lesson, that if Elon Musk is on stage, don't believe it unless it's actually demoed in front of you. And even if it is demoed in front of you, still probably don't believe a word of it. Which brings us to number 2, solar roofs. He was going to make a solar roof cheaper, more efficiently and faster than anyone else in history.
You know, solar roofs that look better than a normal roof, generate electricity, last longer, have better insulation, and actually have an installed cost that is less than a normal roof plus the cost of electricity. So then why would you buy anything else?
Using a 50-year-old idea that became made so advanced so quickly that they already had it installed on 4 different houses with 4 different aesthetic looks.
Like, the interesting thing is that the houses you see around you are all solar houses. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if did you notice? Yeah. So.
Except, no. The whole thing was completely faked.
So we're going to show you, this is the before shot of that house over there. So that's what it looked like before. Now that's all solar.
Elon Musk's just lied to his fans. What do you do, guys?
We've got some close-up shots that we can show.
Wow, just look at all that non-functioning solar roof.
This is a textured glass tile. If you look carefully, you can see the solar cells.
And if you look really closely, they're not connected to anything.
Right, so that house is also solar.
Actually, that's not really what came out when Elon Musk was under oath in court. It was more like, yeah, what Elon meant to say is, that's what a house with a solar roof might look like.
And that's a sort of a style of a French slate.
This is all complete vaporware, bear in mind. It didn't exist then, and it doesn't exist now.
But can we make a French slate roof that's solar that looks as good or better than a conventional French slate roof? And we're able to do that as well.
Seriously, this is Musk being cross-examined about this in court. Okay, those were not working models of roofs. They were just mock-ups, correct? Which Musk replied, they had solar cells on them, so you could, it actually was, I think, very effective in demonstrating you could have solar roof tiles, solar glass roof tiles with solar cells on the backside without negatively affecting the aesthetics, which is very important. Which might all be very important, but that's not the same thing as being able to make them, which is what Elon Musk was actually claiming there.
But can we make a French slate roof that's solar that looks as good or better than a conventional French slate roof? And we're able to do that as well.
Again, let me stress, this didn't exist then, which is now 6 years ago, and it doesn't exist now.
That's done with hydrographic printing. So each tile is unique. So the production process itself makes each tile special and unique. So here we put a film with microluvas on it so that as the angle changes, it goes from transparent to opaque.
Yeah, it takes a special degree of seamless to be able to lie this brazenly about a fictional product you claim you have in your hand.
Probably the most surprising one is the Tuscan glass. So this is also solar panels. We've put 2 versions of the Tuscan glass approach. All of the dark tiles have solar panels.
Now, eventually a product did emerge, but it was only available in one style, looked nothing like any of the products that Musk claimed they had made, was much more expensive, took longer to install, and was made in China. But no, not only did Musk unveil a completely fake product, he had fake tests done on his fake product to show people how good his fake product was.
On a conventional roof tile, and one of our glass tiles. So,
yeah, not quite sure why they're applauding there. All of those tiles have broken, apart from the one with the solar cell reinforcement being an electrical hazard, and will cost a gazillion times more to replace. Even if Musk is demoing a product to you live on the stage, probably still don't believe a word of it. And if he has videos of what he says the product can do, also don't believe a word of it, because he's done it before with 100% vaporware. Which brings us to number 3, nuclear bomb-resistant glass.
And this is the feature I like best: thermonuclear explosion-proof glass. Close. I mean, it's close. So standard glass. Now why is this important? Because you can see, look, nothing. Survived a nuclear explosion. That was incredible.
You know, toughened glass as a product has been available for decades. But he was going to use it on the windscreen of their Tesla Semi. And look, Elon had videos of it working, which, of course, we're completely going to believe, right? Until, of course, 2 years later, when they do a demo of the same glass being used on the Cybertruck, it just wasn't quite as successful.
Sure? Yeah. Oh my god. Well, it didn't go through. So that's a plus side. Let's try the right. Try that one, really? Okay. Yeah. Sure. Oh, man. It didn't go through. All right.
And at that point, I should state that 1 million or so Tesla fans put down a $100 deposit on a product that still hasn't been produced at all, and wouldn't be street legal in large parts of the world, like, say, for instance, Europe. But maybe just to highlight why putting such toughened glass in a regular street vehicle is really stupid. Imagine you're in a Tesla, and in an instant, your power dies, and you're locked in a car filling with fumes. Well, obviously, you just break the window and get out.
Yeah. That was, I had to smash the window.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I kicked through the window.
Yeah.
Because everything stopped.
Yeah.
The power didn't work. The door didn't open. The windows didn't go down. So I'm like, hey, I need to get out of this car.
Now imagine you've got thermonuclear explosion-proof glass in your windows. Yeah, you're going to probably have a few harsh minutes to realize why that wasn't the smartest choice you could have made. But on the bright side, each Tesla battery failure comes with a free roadside barbecue. After this, Tesla decided that they weren't going to live demo products that might fail, and so they went back to the pre-recorded thing. Which is why, for the Optimus reveal, you had lots of video of it working, but none of it demonstrated working on stage. And for those who want closure on what happened to the Tesla Semi, well, it originally was promised in 2017 with full autopilot that would be safer than a human now.
The convoy technology, the tracking technology, this is something that we are confident we can do today 10 times safer than a human driver. So I want to be clear, this is something we can do now.
And maybe just a slight reminder about how this is about Elon Musk promising everything and delivering nothing.
So, and that's I think, really quite profound. We're confident that this is a product that is better in every way from a feature standpoint, that wins on economics against diesel trucks in a worst-case scenario, and that defeats rail in a convoy scenario.
And it was going to be delivered in 2019.
And production begins 2019. So if you order now, get the truck in 2 years.
But of course, there was nothing delivered in 2019 or 2020 or 2021. But wait, they were totally going to receive the first models in the fourth quarter of 2021. But of course, nothing was delivered then. So here we are a year later, and Elon Musk's just tweeted out, no, there will totally be a delivery in the fourth quarter of 2022. Which, if I'm being honest, is probably just to try and slow down the crashing of the Tesla stock. It had no effect. Number 4, the Hyperloop, completely revolutionizing travel.
In this video, we'll take a look at the Hyperloop, the brand new method of transport brought forth by the entrepreneur and billionaire Elon Musk.
But it would be for a fifth mode of transport. I have a name for it, which is called the Hyperloop.
The Hyperloop?
Hyperloop, yeah.
Yeah, this one's the one that really sets it all off. Yeah, Elon Musk takes a 100-year-old idea and claims it's a brand new idea that he's invented. And the fact that there were people making animations and videos about how they had invented it years before he came up with it didn't bother him at all. Now, he was still going to claim it was his idea.
Name for it, which is called the Hyperloop.
A new means of underground transport similar to a wheelless train.
The Hyperloop?
Hyperloop, yeah.
Like you just get in, it whisks you?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you the characteristics.
Similar to a wheelless train or a wingless aeroplane, able to carry passengers in perfect safety at over 500 kilometers an hour. That's what Swiss Metro is proposing.
From downtown LA to downtown San Francisco in under 30 minutes.
And a year or two after inventing something that had been around for 100 or so years, he made a vacuum tube. I mean, sure, it wasn't long enough to do any real tests. I'm sure it can hold a vacuum good enough for his predictions of what a Hyperloop would need.
What this competition is about is encouraging people to think about new modes of transport, things that could radically transform cities and the way people get around.
Yeah, but making a straight track was beyond our ability, so you're just going to have to work around that.
And what you're working on is the only thing I'm aware of that can actually be a radical improvement of this current state of the art.
And sure, the pods were all just small electric cars made by students.
And at the very front, we also have a very nice 3D printed seat just to show what the Hyperloop's actually for, which is transporting people.
Smithers, I've designed a new plane. I call it the Spruce Moose, and it will carry 200 passengers from New York's Idlewild Airport to the Belgian Congo in 17 minutes.
That's quite a nice model, sir.
Model?
And those tiny electric cars basically got no benefit from running in the vacuum tube.
Our team alone, which is 27 members, represents 12 different countries. MIT's motto is mind in hand, and Hyperloop really puts the mind and hand work together.
But they had lots of university students working on it, because that's really where you go if you want to make progress. And it's now been a decade or so since Elon Musk's legendary white paper.
But it's really not that hard.
It still sounds pretty complicated, Elon.
It's like a tube with an air hockey table. It's really, I swear, it's not that hard.
By tapping into some shared dream, Musk inspires a legion of new tech pioneers ready to fork away from the old, established paths and start making good on the promise of a more awesome future.
Nope, the Hyperloop went nowhere. But it is pretty impressive to get that many students worked up into such a frenzy over something you can fairly simply show is complete bullshit. And Elon Musk's test tube is still just a rusty tube outside SpaceX headquarters. I really should go back there someday and see how that thing's aging.
What I can say is we're going to move to just truly massive scale. Scale that no company has ever achieved in the history of humanity.
And believe it or not, despite the fact that this has been a cataclysmic failure from start to finish, there are still Elon Musk fans who gush over the Hyperloop.
Hyperloop is one of Elon's more infamous ideas. A report that he self-published back in 2013 outlines his vision for an ultra-high-speed bullet train that moves through an underground vacuum tube floating on a pocket of air at near supersonic velocity.
Well, oddly enough, when I first debunked the Hyperloop, I had no idea who Musk was. None whatsoever. I just knew the idea wasn't genius, it was really stupid. And this was one of my first busting videos, which I got a lot of pushback on, because apparently Elon Musk was a genius billionaire, and I was just some nobody on YouTube.
The system is proposed to travel at an average speed of 900 kilometers an hour and at a top speed of 1,220 kilometers an hour. It's also much cheaper to build. It's about 1/10 the cost of the proposed California high-speed railway system. This means that tickets could cost as little as $25.
Yeah, how's that working out for you, boys? I trust you enjoying your daily 30-minute commute between Los Angeles and San Francisco for $20. I'm sure that's working out great for you. Which brings us on to number 5. Tunnels that actually pay you to dig them.
And yeah, so then if we can actually take the dirt from the tunnel and instead of just dumping it somewhere, we can turn it into something useful. So we're going to make bricks out of the dirt from the tunnel and then sell the bricks. The tunnel could actually pay for itself with just bricks. Like, a lot of these things are really quite elementary, but are not done.
Yes, selling bricks and actually making more money than the tunnel cost to dig. It was essentially a way of getting free tunnels and free money. And of course, it was complete and utter bullshit. And 5 or so years later on, Elon Musk has used his SpaceX technology.
So we had to use rocket technology to build tunnels.
To build a super advanced tunneling machine that went about 10 times slower than a regular tunnel boring machine. And this will shock you, made 0 bricks. Yeah, even when Elon Musk is on stage demoing a product, don't believe a word of it. Which brings us on to, what did we actually see the Tesla bot achieve? Well, there's 0 evidence that it was even aware of the environment. Completely non-responsive to the environment. It was just a bunch of pre-recorded stuff, which, given that most of Elon Musk's pre-recorded stuff to date has been bullshit, let's just say I don't believe it till I see it working on stage. Like I did the best part of a decade ago. Yeah, this is the sort of level of robotics I would expect from a year's work off a bunch of university students. So in reality, all they actually demonstrated was an advanced version of this. And not crazy advanced either. There are folks on YouTube who make stuff like this for fun.
It's made of aluminium and it's made of 3D printed parts, and also it can breathe fire. When I did the collaboration with Look Mum No Computer. So if you're subscribed to the channel, you'll of course know all about OpenDog, the last video in the series.
Yeah, after dozens of fake presentations, fake products, and fake promises, you gotta face it, Musk really isn't real-life Iron Man. He's serial Elizabeth Holmes. As for him changing his mind back to buying Twitter, and no, it might just be a ploy to buy time. As I've said before, if there aren't people out there with $50 billion wanting to buy Tesla stock, Elon Musk cannot afford to buy Twitter. And with the Tesla stock crashing, well, let me just say I've got my popcorn on standby. You see, when Musk originally bailed on buying Twitter, he posted this meme because he was just so amused by it all. They said I couldn't buy Twitter, then would disclose the bot info. Now they're forcing me to buy Twitter in court. Now they have to disclose the bot info in court. And the meme's just kind of been upgraded since. Then my own analyst said the monetizable data users was accurate. Wasted time, wasted millions, wrecked Twitter, and we'll pay full price anyway. That's a shame. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Anyway, that's today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a thumbs up on it, subscribe so you didn't miss out on more great videos like this, and as ever, if you really like the work of this channel and want to support it directly, you can do it through Patreon. Thanks for watching.
100 true damage and half the damage to near. I don't know what not a wolf means. What does not a wolf mean? Okay, so this. What is not a wolf? Jungle pets? Collect ember stacks over time or by killing monsters up to. Oh, feral flare! Ah! Oh no, it's not feral flare. I mean, so this is more for power farmers, right?
No, LS, it isn't. And I don't even blame you. There's so much going on with this new season patch, and a lot of it has either been worded poorly or straight up wrong, so everyone reacting to this based on just text is fully justified for being a bit confused about what's going on. Today's video is sponsored by Opera GX. Opera GX is a do with it. How much best to release new you for anything smooth, ultimate game, just about the only thing you can download based below. Several days straight up not sleeping playing the PBE, so you don't have to. I'm here to break it down and give you the best and most comprehensive analysis that I possibly can as someone who plays jungle. Jungle is my secondary role next to mid, so of course I was a bit skeptical at first, but willing to give it a chance. I just wanted to try the Nidalee clear, but then got sucked into such a rabbit hole that I ended up testing 35 different clears, and it really got me thinking. Why is it that this role is the one that always has to be changed? And it's an important topic as well, because we know now that the jungle is in fact the least played role. It's a role that's seen amazing players like Canyon completely smurf their way to rank 1 Korea. We saw Tian stomp the world finals on his way to an MVP. It's also the role that the community hates to play the most, and why would giving them pets solve any of that? Let's find out. Several weeks ago, the devs gave us some thoughts on jungle and why they want to change it. They say that they don't want to make jungle easier to master, they still want the role to take a lot of skill and master at the highest level, but they say that their intention is to make it easier to enter. Right now in League, it's not realistic to expect a ton of different characters to be viable at the highest levels of play, because a lot of them simply can't optimize their clears well enough to stand up with the rest. And that's a very important point. When I read this for the first time, I immediately thought of two big questions. Number one, does this mean that they want to normalize clear speeds? Should junglers all be able to clear at right around the same pace? And if so, that might make certain junglers with typically slow clears more competitive, but what about those with a strong clear? What would be the reason you would pick a fast clearing jungler if a scaling jungler isn't really worried about invades or losing pace? The other big question that I had is, when they say barrier to entry, what exactly could they do? A lower barrier to entry is generally a good idea in video games, but as long as you don't remove the skill that makes someone good at something. And how are they going to do that? Their idea is to change how monsters work, but right now, this is one of the main things that junglers have to practice. Clearing itself is a way to prove skill. Low MMR and high MMR players on one champ don't clear the exact same way. Take Diana, she's a champ known for her clear speed, but utilizing that speed isn't just about pressing your abilities whenever they're off cooldown. It's a matter of how you use them and knowing the leash range. You can throw a Q from Raptors to red, hitting both camps. Diana has 2 AoE abilities in her passive, which means you can do blue and Gromp together effectively. She can also throw a Q from red to Krugs rather than walking all the way around, and you can QE the wolves from over this wall. All of this applies to her, but that's just Diana because every champion has their own way of clearing efficiently, some more complex than others. Learning how to clear as Nidalee is leaps and bounds more difficult than learning Amumu's. And then there's also the jungle burn. The buff camps, red and blue, don't die to the burn. It will be left on 1 HP, and knowing that is important. You can save time by paying attention to how much your autos do. In this example, as Lee Sin, my right click is doing about 65 damage, so once the buff is getting low, I should let the burn tick it down below that amount and walk to my next camp and not immediately auto attack. If it then ticks below 65 due to the burn, since that's what my auto does, it will finish it off. If you don't let it burn past that point, you'll end up wasting some extra time because you don't need that extra auto. Mastering the patience is another way that junglers show skill, and this can be a gatekeeping factor that keeps lower ranked junglers out of higher elos. It's not as if some high level junglers can do this, it's that all can. It is a requirement. Otherwise, the other jungler will always be to the play several seconds before you do, which adds up to minutes over the course of an entire game. You cannot afford to be behind the pace of the game, so being comfortable with pulling the camps and letting them die to the burn is extremely important. Regardless of your opinion of Tarzan and Nightblue, this clip still demonstrates perfectly why every second counts.
Smarter to see if Jarvan's actually in the bush first, instead of Eing
No,
first?
I have the fastest level 3 in the game compared to you. Rex had the faster level 3 than Jarvan.
No,
you're pathing red crux to
time is
blue.
at 236. Let me see what I'm...
Yeah, so there's no way you can get level 3 faster than me. But if I take that extra route of extra second getting there...
Yeah, I'm seeing 236. Okay, so you're like 2 or 3 seconds faster.
Right here, right here.
So you really played off the 2-3 seconds faster?
I know, I'm the best jungler in the world. What do you think?
The same concept can be applied to cycling. Cycling isn't necessarily a universal league term that all players know, but junglers would know what I mean when I say cycling. Here's the skinny on how cycling works. The buffs take a full 5 minutes to respawn, whereas your other 4 camps take 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So what this means is that junglers would really like to get their minor camps, Gromp, Wolves, Raptors, and Krugs, to respawn in sync with each other. An ideal game start would look something like this. You do a full 6 camp clear before 3 minutes and 15 seconds when the Scuttle Crab spawns. You kill all 6 camps, which means you get level 4, and you can use that level advantage to secure the crab. You could then pull off a quick gank, maybe get a kill, and recall to stay up tempo. When I say this is ideal, I mean it's absolutely perfect. You can then go back to the side of the jungle that you started on, so if you started your blue quadrant, you can take Gromp into Wolves, just as you did the first time. Because you're going in the same cycle that you did last time, your camps will respawn in the order that you cleared them, allowing you to collect them again, maybe look for a repeat gank on the laner who probably has no flash after the first gank, secure a deep ward, maybe get another recall off, and then repeat the cycle again. In addition, if you make sure to always clear your camps, you're going to get as much XP as possible. The camps will always give the same gold, but the amount of XP it gives is dependent on the camp's level. Let's imagine that you didn't clear your Krugs on your first several clears because they take a while. It means that the camp will stay stuck at level 1 until you or somebody else clears it. It's crucial to make sure that you don't leave camps sitting up for a long time, because being able to constantly farm in your cycle, gank, then repeat the cycle, feels amazing as a jungler. You're going to be up in levels, you're going to be up in CS, it feels great, and you're going to come out of the jungle extremely farmed and strong. It's going to be a jungle diff, well, except for the fact that here's the problem. I just explained why cycling is good, yet if you watch any high-level jungle replay in stream, seldom does this actually happen. Very rarely will the challenger jungler just auto-path their perfect cycle. Only about half the time they're going to even do a full 6 camp clear. Why? The big issue is that there's no way that this perfect scenario can happen every game, and that's for several reasons. Number one, not all junglers can even full clear before the crab at 315. Only a handful of junglers, most notably champions like Diana, Karthus, Nidalee, Udyr, and Hecarim can, but not too many others. No matter how good of a leash you get, as Lee Sin, it's impossible. You cannot 6 camp clear before 315. So fighting for crab as Lee Sin means you're probably going to be down a level. Even more importantly, another reason why you might not be able to get this start is that sometimes you need to cover a dive. You might get invaded. Your laners could die solo, meaning there's no real gank opportunity. You could lose both crabs. You could waste time sitting in a warded bush. There's so much that goes on during the early game to not get a start like this, and some of it is completely just dependent on which champion you picked. This is why, above all else, above everything from clearing, champion mastery, and late game macro, the absolute most important thing you need to do as a jungler is have the ability to adapt. A good jungler arguably has the most game knowledge of any role, but particularly the early game. A jungler might not have to worry about having insane Viper level ADC mechanics, but you probably have to be a lot smarter than your ADC. You need to be able to adapt to the game state in the situation. A good jungler knows that Renekton is an early game champion who should have push priority against melee matchups. In the LPL, Tian was the top jungler in the summer split. Something that truly set him apart from the competition was creative pathing, because very often he would look for level 3 and start making things happen. He would look for ganks, he would look for dives, help his laners push. It was a rarity to see that Tian would just autopilot his 6 camp clear. He was okay to go down a level or 2 compared to the enemy jungler, because by getting his laners ahead, that gives all of them the priority to move to objectives, steal camps from the enemy side of the map, push lanes with his team so he can soak some experience. Being down levels in the first 5 minutes doesn't mean that you will be permanently down for the rest of the game. This is the hardest part about being a jungler. Not the leash mechanics, not the patience, not the burn, not even getting flamed by your teammates despite the times when you're doing well. It's because the jungle role is the one that requires the most amount of game knowledge about the first 15 minutes of the game. It's hard to know what to do, and you are always the brunt of the blame. The highest rated jungler in China proves my point. We talked about cycling and making sure that you don't leave camps up, but I guess you can just totally forget that. He goes red, blue, Gromp, gets his quick level 3, then looks for a topside invade because he knows that he has the pushing top lane matchup with Renekton and has a huge dive threat. He spots the Xin Zhao, which if Xin was any slower at all with his clear, he could have died or lost his red. He then sits in the bush, waits a while, goes back to get the crab, goes back to the same bush, waits again, successfully ganks Camille, helps Renekton shove, doesn't go back top, doesn't cycle at all, waits in the bot bush, fights Xin Zhao while being down a level, gets an assist, and dies. I know you're thinking to yourself, this is the #1 jungler on the super server? Yeah, it is. And even though he leaves wolves up and has some weird pathing, even though he makes choices that you and I wouldn't have done in the same situation, never follows cycling rules, and Xin Zhao got a lead early, he still ends up carrying this exact game with 17 kills. He only has 30 to 40 CS at the 10-minute mark, times where a Graves jungle can have 70 to 80, and at one point Xin is up 2 levels on him. You would think that this game is GG. But because he's always looking for plays, because he never prioritizes cross-map farming over fighting, at the 15-minute mark, he essentially walks right into a triple kill. It was an amazing play. And by the way, his blue and wolves were up during this. How many of you would think to yourself after recalling you should just go get your blue because it's up, rather than think a minute ahead, go towards the bot side of the map, recall and look at the lane state and realize your bot lane is going to die? It's his ability to read the map, with the game knowledge to know what to do. If all of this sounds overwhelming, that's because it is, and Riot thinks so too. Here's what they had to say about jungle. Jungle is a powerful role, but also the punching bag of the team. We're supposed to gank every lane, control all the macro, perfectly farm our camps, and set up vision all at once, and it's a lot. We don't want the majority of players to actively avoid playing any role, and the truth is we failed at that metric when it comes to jungling. Many League players see the wildly complex set of strategies and game knowledge required to even be slightly competent at the jungle role, and are scared away. We want to lessen this barrier to entry. One of the ways we'll do that is by easing players in, showing them how to play the role and adjusting mechanics so they're less punishing and more intuitive. The goal here is to absolutely not dumb down the jungle or remove the ability to show off your jungle knowledge, but to make sure the jungle is complex in the right places. All of this prompted Riot to change the jungle for 2023. When applicable, I will show a direct compare and contrast for certain systems, talking about what the current versus the new system is in preseason to keep it easy to understand. First off, recommended jungle pathing. It's a number system with the starting camp marked in the map. In this example, they have the path marked as a standard full clear from bot to top with a red buff start. The way these are determined is by, quote, gathering data from high-skilled junglers on their high mastery champions across the globe. Pathing recommendations are based on which routes most often led to these players getting a victory and will be updated with each patch. I don't necessarily want to start off as a negative Nancy, but I believe this is the least constructive change of the preseason. It's nice to know if you're not sure, but I also find this dangerous as it might set in some bad habits. By strictly telling a lower ranked or new jungler this is the path, not only does it set in their mind that this is exactly what they should do, but it doesn't take into account fast level 3 ganks. It doesn't take into account which lanes have good gank setup or which lanes have priority. While it might be true that you probably should start topside on Elise, what if your top laner is Renekton, just like we talked about? My next question is, what about the fastest level 3 path in the game for a champion like Graves, which is red Raptors into Gromp? While it's true that Graves is historically a full clear type of jungler, you can absolutely look for a very quick level 3 gank by doing this path. And is the system going to show this on the map? And if it does, isn't that more confusing for a new jungler? You wouldn't understand why you would clear out of order like this. Why would you leave up your wolves and Krugs? It's because what's not abundantly clear to new junglers is that not all camps give the same amount of experience. The response from Riot could be that this is just a suggestion. It's not set in stone. And yeah, that's true, but isn't everything in the game like that? I mean, technically, Kayle should not win the laning matchup against a Pantheon, but if he ints and dives you for absolutely no reason, well, yeah, then it is possible. My honest belief is this either creates too much confusion or is way too cookie cutter and instills terrible habits for new junglers who already full clear too much as it is and don't impact the map enough. Moving on from something I'm not super excited about, let's talk about something I love. there's a new ping system, now with options to ping for wave states like pushing and freezing, telling teammates to bait and all in, hold an area, and new options for vision. There's also an objective voter. In this example, the Fire Drake is coming up in 50 seconds, and the team is voting on whether or not they want to take or give. Of course, this doesn't mean that by voting your team is guaranteed to fight it, rather just communicating how many people want to, which is better than the current system of just spam pinging the timer and flooding the chat. This change is immaculate, and I mean this 100% seriously. This might be the greatest change they have ever made to this video game. Look how cool this is. You can ping area warded as soon as you see the enemy drop a ward, and it leaves a freaking placeholder with the timer. I have seen some players complain about this, and I'm here to tell you as honestly and as fairly as I possibly can, you're stupid. Yes, offense. No, this is not babying players. This is not League on easy mode. This rewards proactive players. It rewards using good, proper pings, paying attention to the game, and communication. This is textbook definition of good game design. Thank you, Riot. Scuttle Crab now spawns at 330 instead of 315, and no longer has a shield that is either broken with CC or Smite. There is now no longer any advantage whatsoever given to a jungler who has hard CC to clear the crab. We'll come back to this in a second. Smite now starts at 600 damage instead of 450, and no longer heals you. Again, we'll come back to this. Gromp no longer heals a large amount of health and mana based on how much you're missing. Instead, all of the camps will sustain you by just a little bit after taking them. Krugs now do not split as many times. This camp is now champion dependent on whether or not it's the slowest to take, rather than being by default slower than all other camps. After years of begging Riot to do this, finally, the mini camps all have their health displayed on the health bar. This has long been a feature of the Chinese Wii client, and the visual clarity is a welcome change. Lastly, just based on my testing, you take more damage in this jungle than you do before, and a large reason for that is because you can now only afford one potion, and that's because the pets cost 450. Let's talk about the pets. Alright, the big one, pets and avatar smite. So what the heck is this even about? The new jungle system is the pets. These pets are essentially the jungle item that upgrade your smite and will give an additional bonus. Red smite. Challenging Smite, as you know it, is 100% removed from the game. Challenging Smite, where you would get a mini exhaust and the burn, is gone from the game. All junglers, no matter the pet choice, will unlock the equivalent of Blue Smite, and this is now called Primal Smite. How do you get Primal Smite, aka Blue Smite? Well, on live, as you probably know, you just have to smite 5 times, and your item is then removed from your inventory. That has been totally reworked into the new pet system. At the start of the game, for 450 gold, you'll pick up one pet type that you want and one potion. Let's just call them the red pet, blue pet, and green pet. For roughly the first 20 minutes or so of the game, which pet that you chose has no impact. It's not like there's a red smite, a blue smite, and a green smite. Smite functionality across the board is completely the same for all the pets. Smite Tier 1 starts at 600 damage instead of 450, then upgrades to 900 damage and gives you the Primal aka Chilling Smite, and then upgrades into the Tier 3 Avatar Smite, giving you a 1200 damage smite that also AoEs camps. The way that you upgrade your smite is by making progress on your pet. The pet is there to help you jungle. It attacks camps with you. The jungle burn is completely removed in favor of having the pet do damage. Even if you don't have AoE, the pet will still help you AoE a little bit on Krugs and Wolves and Raptors. It's not such a high amount that Warwick now melts Raptors or anything, but it's better than on live without a doubt. The way pets upgrade is by farming the jungle, very similar to the way that the old Feral Flare or the old Sated Devourer worked. When you first buy the pet, it will have 40 stacks on it, and in order to get Primal Smite, you need to feed it 20 treats or 20 stacks, so halfway through. And then finally, after feeding it 40 treats or getting 40 stacks, you'll get your Avatar Tier 3 Smite. Clearing the regular jungle camps as well as Scuttle Crab gives you 1 treat each, but an epic monster like Dragon, Herald, and Baron will give you 3 treats. Now it might sound like it will take a very long time to get your Avatar Smite. You need to clear 40 camps, or I guess slightly less if you're able to get a couple of objectives, but in my rigorous testing, I was able to finish before Baron spawn relatively consistently. And the reason is that because at starting 2 minutes at 25 seconds, you will get 1 bonus treat, and that happens once per minute. These treats actually stack as well, so on your next camp clear, you'll get 1 bonus, and these stack once per minute, like I said. Let me put it like this. If you clear your full 6 jungle camps and finish at 330, instead of just getting 6 treats progress, you'll actually get 8, because at 225 and 325, the game gives you 1 stack for bonus treats. The typical time that I got Primal Smite was around 6 to 8 minutes and level 6 to 7, right around the typical time that you're getting on live to finish your Blue Smite, so that's pretty much the same. And then it depended for the Avatar Smite. Most of the time it's going to be 17 to 20 minutes, but in this one example where I was playing Graves, I farmed very well with very good cycling. I was actually able to finish before 15 minutes. Now we can finally discuss the difference between the pets, because the bonuses don't matter until you complete Avatar Smite. Once your pet is finished, they will give you the additional bonus. The blue pet gives you bonus movement speed in a bush, very similar to Nidalee passive, and gives you a larger burst of movement speed whenever you clear a camp. This is wildly fun on Nidalee and Hecarim. Clearing that camp and sprinting towards a gank felt very powerful, but I'll come back to this in a second. The red pet gives you a sort of empowered red buff. It builds up similar to the energized system of rapid fire cannon and how you build up the turbo chem tank, but you stack it up quickly by killing jungle camps. Once you have 100 stacks, you will slow champions and hit them with a max HP burn. Currently, this stacks pretty slowly during a team fight when you're not actually hitting camps. I think the most amount of times that I was able to use it during one fight was maybe 3 times. The green pet is the tanky one. You stack up an out-of-combat permanent shield, similar to a Malphite or maybe Rakan passive, and just like the red pet, you will stack this almost instantly by clearing 1 camp. While you have the shield, and briefly after it's broken, you'll get some tenacity. The green pets seemed underwhelming to me at first, but after testing all 3 pets multiple times, I can honestly say none of them felt specifically broken or insane or overpowered. I would say that the shield is the most consistently useful and easiest to see its value, with the next best probably being the red pet, and as it currently stands on PBE only after day 1 and day 2 testing, unless you're playing Nidalee or Hecarim, I really don't think the blue pet was very good. Rotating and getting to place faster is really nice, but if you encounter the enemy jungler and they either have a shield or a big damaging slow, their fighting potential is just straight up superior to yours. There is now a visual indicator of the leash range and a reduction of the range as well. This is obviously meant to help people who are new to jungle understand just how far they can pull the camps. However, you really cannot pull the camps as far. It is quite drastic, and double camping has been completely removed from the game. Well, sort of. The jury is still out on every single champion whether or not you can actually double clear, except for Fiddlesticks. I have at least seen 1 successful clear of double camping for Fiddlesticks, and it turns out his clear speed really hasn't been hit too badly at all. It's a very competitive clear at 259, which currently as it stands is the fastest clear I've seen in the new jungle. Other than him though, double camping has more or less been completely removed from the game, particularly the early game. But if you're practiced on something like a Graves or Hecarim, you can still utilize leash ranges decently well to help your clear speed, albeit to a lesser degree for sure. You can see in this example, yeah, I mean, I'm able to pull these things together, and I'm still able to sort of damage them both at the same time, but this is late game, so it doesn't really matter anyway. I am very mixed on this. The indicator is wonderful. The patient system is counterintuitive, it's clunky, and seriously takes a while to understand and master. Without a doubt, it's confusing for new junglers, so more visual clarity is always welcome. On the other hand, their statement about why they did this makes no sense. They said if jungle clear optimization is no longer a major barrier to entry for jungle viability, way more champions can be played there. The meta is less set in stone. The jungle itself isn't telling you that you're bad at the game because you picked Warwick and wanted to take Raptors. Okay, Riot, true, you're right, but what in the world does leash range have to do with Warwick struggling to take Raptors? Right. Are we playing the same game? Riot. On live, the reason that Warwick can't clear Raptors is because he has no AoE, not because he can't pull them. The reason is because there's 12 billion Raptors and 18 trillion Krugs to kill, and he has to hit them one at a time. Even in a world where you can't move the camps at all, Karthus' clear is still leaps and bounds better than Warwick's for reasons that are so obvious it's not even worth explaining. Go ahead, try it yourself. Try your absolute hardest to make Warwick clear faster than a Karthus or Hecarim. You can't do it. I went on the current patch, playing on live, I stood completely still, using no leash mechanics whatsoever, and Karthus' clear is still 317. Warwick, on the other hand, is a 355 clear. Warwick's E is technically an AoE ability, but because the ability does 0 damage at all, it does not apply the jungle burn. Simply just adding in the ability for Warwick's E to apply jungle burn, it would increase his clear speed by a factor of maybe 10, 15, even 20 potential seconds. None of that has anything to do with the patience range. None of that has anything to do with the leash range, and it certainly would not have required fully reworking jungle by adding in pets. Now that the pet helps you clear and does AoE and there's no more jungle burn, it's true that Warwick's clear does go a bit better, but in my opinion, the reduction of the leash range just ended up making me angrier than it should have. Nidalee's clear still requires very good mechanics and understanding how the champion works, but for simple right-click, point-and-click junglers like Rammus, his clear is mechanically no different whatsoever. They did successfully normalize clears a little bit though. Warwick's is about 338, so nearly a 20-second reduction in his clear and nerfing fast junglers by about 5 to 10 seconds and making them less healthy. That's pretty okay, and I'm actually fine with that change because the crab is now a 330 spawn instead of 315, which means that for most junglers with a good clear, you're going to be able to full clear just fine and then fight crab at level 4. But something that is difficult to describe to you in this video unless you've actually tested the clears as much as I have, is that the pet just feels, I don't know, awful and compared to the burn. It's because the burn is so visual, you can clearly see the animation, but the pet in this case just sometimes clips into the wall. It would hit the camps at inconsistent timers, and I found it frustratingly difficult to learn just how much health I leave on the camp while walking away. The key difference is that on live, the burn mechanic has an exact amount. We know for a fact the burn starts at 60 damage and then scales with your stats and then stops burning them. But the pet, however, just continues to attack whatever either you're hitting or whatever is hitting you. So the pet does not finish off Scuttle Crab the way that the burn does, since it doesn't hit you back, but technically you can leave a camp on a good amount of health and go AFK and eventually the pet will finish it. Even after full clearing about 50 times in the new jungle, I still don't really know how to perfectly kite the way I could using the burn. One absolute treat, no pun intended, to the new jungle though, and cannot be understated, is how much better resetting a camp is now. Riot, you're genius. Thank you. Like seriously, genuinely, thank you. Oh man, once I figured this out, I actually had a smile on my face. The camp resetting is no longer the end of your clear. If the camp resets, it's not GG. What you can do is follow it back into the leash range, and once the patience meter is flashing red, you have a window to re-engage the combat and deal damage to it. If you can do that, the camp will then only recover a small amount of HP, and you'll lose just a couple of seconds, rather than it fully resetting and making you want to Alt F4. This change is A+. Alright, final thoughts. The biggest thing that confused me in this situation is why Riot didn't just embrace the patience mechanic by adding in the indicator like they did, but then keep the current range and have a proprietary tutorial or instructional video built into the client that teaches you about it, and have a practice tool scenario that lets you practice your clears more effectively. The reset game button is okay, but the problem is that the camp spawns get messed up and it doesn't bring the timer back to 0, so it's harder to tell how fast your clear actually was. This Reddit user had the great idea of something like save states, so you can more easily practice your clear for potentially just one quadrant. Maybe you only need to practice pulling together the blue and the grump, but that's a little bit more annoying to do right now. I personally feel that the pet's damage adds to the confusion of clearing and does not make it a lower barrier to entry. The jungle meta itself will change with this update, obviously, and I think now cycling is the most important skill. Farming junglers have a very clear advantage, and ironically, Riot, what you've pretty much done here is make it so champions with a slower clear are going to be even less meta than they are now. Think about this for a second. If Braves or Hecarim can complete their avatar smite before 20 minutes, have their empowered buffs, and gatekeep the enemy jungler from completing theirs by 20 by stealing all of their camps, objective securing is now a very real thing again. Remember back in the day when your level would determine how much your smite did? Well, that Baron and Dragon secure mechanic is now back with avatar smite. Smite is not normalized to 900 damage permanently, so the team with the first Avatar Smite in Pro Play has a very clear advantage. I promise you, you will not see Warwick in Pro Play, because why in the world would his team wait for 5 extra minutes to complete Avatar Smite and have to give all those objectives when his Smite does 300 less damage than Nidalee or Diana or Hecarim or Graves? Those are just my predictions and my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you feel like I was too hard on Riot here, keep in mind this is PvE. It's all just predictive and there's a long way to go. I really truly believe that this system at least has some potential, but I don't currently like the functionality of how the pet helps you clear, and I do prefer the old way that jungle worked. But the pets are fun, they're interesting, and they definitely shake up the meta in a way that I was hoping for. I'm at least happy that the game is going to be different, because that truly is all I want. I want the game to feel fresh. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope you're doing well and having a nice fall so far, and I'll see you guys next time.
you